Martin, a 6-year-old resident of Knoxville, Tennessee, was visiting the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee along with his father, William C. Martin, grandfather, Clyde E. Martin, and older brother, Douglas Martin, on Father's Day weekend in 1969. The camping trip was a family tradition for the Martins. The family liked to hike from Cades Cove to Russell Field and camped overnight. The next day, they hiked to Spencer Field near the Appalachian Trail where they planned to spend the night. Martin disappeared on June the 14th at approximately 4:30 while planning on surprising the adults with his brother and other children from a separate family the Martins were camping with. He was last seen by his father going behind a bush to hide, intending on surprising the adults with the other children. He was wearing a red t-shirt, dark green hiking shorts, white socks, and black low-cut Oxford shoes with a simple heel. After not seeing him for about 5 minutes, and when all of the other children had returned to the campsite, his father became concerned and began searching for him. His father ran down the trail for nearly 2 miles until he was sure he couldn't have gotten any farther. After several hours, they sought help from the National Park Ranger Service. Harold Key, a visitor to the park, reported that he heard a loud scream on the afternoon Martin disappeared. Shortly thereafter, he claims to have seen a disheveled man covered in hair and attempting to remain unseen, fleeing through the woods. Key's family elaborated that the figure had a red object slung over his shoulder, matching the clothing that Martin was wearing. Despite the report, FBI investigators ultimately dismissed it, given that the sighting had taken place more than 5 miles from where Martin had vanished, and Key was unclear on the specific timeline. Key later speculated that the man may have been a moonshiner, explaining his reluctance to be seen. One retired park ranger lamented the failure to properly follow up either the footprints or the sighting of the rough-looking man. The area where Martin disappeared is marked by steep slopes and ravines. Wild animals such as copperhead snakes, bears, feral hogs, and bobcats also inhabit the area. A downpour broke out shortly after Martin's disappearance, dropping 3 inches of rain in a matter of hours, which washed out trails and caused streams to flood. Temperatures on the night of June the 14th dropped to nearly 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius. Search efforts, including a separate search by the U.S. Army, Green Berets, the National Guard, and the Special Forces, found no trace of the boy. Heavy rains during the first day's search and heavy mist the next day's hampered efforts. Up to 1,400 people were involved in the search effort, potentially obscuring possible clues. Footprints were found in the area, but dismissed as being Martin's and determined to be park officials to have been left by a Boy Scout participating in the search. The child-sized footprints led to a stream where they disappeared. The tracks indicated that one foot was bare while the other was in an Oxford type of shoe like Martin was wearing. Retired park ranger and author Dwight McCarter believes that the prints were likely belonged to Martin, as the tracks were not part of the group and none of the Boy Scouts were searching while barefoot. A shoe and sock were also found. By June the 22nd, 56 square miles or 150 square kilometers of ground had been covered. More than 1,000 searchers continued to look until June the 26th, when the search was cut back. The search was abandoned on June the 29th and after the last search. A handful of rangers continued efforts until September 11th, when the park declared the search closed. The search cost 13,420 man-hours and roughly $70,000, which would be equivalent to about $500,000 in today's dollars. The search was officially closed down on September the 14th, 1969, and as of 2021, that is still the largest search in the history of Great Smoky Mountains National Park. The unsuccessful search for Martin led to National Park Service to review and amend its policies on searches for missing people. More than decades later, no one knows what happened to Dennis Martin that day that he went missing in the Smoky Mountains. It's unknown if it was abduction, died from exposure, eaten by a bear or feral pigs in the park, or if he was a victim of a more vicious attack by cannibalistic feral humans who are said to live undetected in the national park. And the reason nothing was ever found of his body or clothing was because they were hidden far from view in the safety of their colony. In Cades Cove, Tennessee, the day before Dennis Martin would have turned 7, his father shouted his name to the sky, fighting back tears in a last desperate plea to bring him home. The Martin family clung for years to the hope that Dennis might have survived somehow, maybe wandered out at the park on his own, dazed by hunger, thirst, and the elements, maybe kidnapped by some sinister stranger who saw an opportunity and seized it. Not a single verifiable trace of the boy has come to light, other than what was already mentioned to the light in the decades since. Park officials and the last of the men who tried to track him down doubt that he lived long past the first night. I think it is virtually impossible that we will ever know what happened to Dennis Martin, said Clay Jordan, the deputy park superintendent. Human nature being what it is, we want to have an answer to something. We want to have an explanation, but it's become one of the enduring mysteries of the Smokies. Bill Martin died in 2014, never knowing what became of his son. The family hasn't discussed the case publicly since the search ended, as it was too difficult for them to understand if the 6-year-old boy had wandered off and found himself lost in the woods, or if there was another answer, since the terrain marked with steep ravines may have hidden Martin's body. Dennis Lloyd Martin, a white male born on June the 20th, 1962, was only 6 years old when he went missing. He was 4 feet 1 inches tall and weighed approximately 55 pounds, with long, thick eyelashes, and he had brown eyes and dark wavy brown hair. He is described as a husky, healthy boy who had hiking and camping experience and wasn't particularly fearful. He was missing one of his upper front teeth at the time, and he had learning disabilities. He was a special education student because his mental age was about half a year behind his chronological age. If you have any information regarding this case, please contact the Great Smoky Mountain Police Department at 865-436-1230 or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 615-744-4000. And if you'd like to remain anonymous, please contact your local Crime Stoppers unit.